genetic as well here.
I know. I'm sorry, but I just don't think on genetics. Apparently, my mum and my dad both had the keep your hair gene. But I got the transvestite gene, so you know. It's horses for courses. I don't know. It's just what you get dealt a load of cards at the beginning, and some people, have some, and some people.
My brother right here, though. Look, he's got.
I know. Well, if you check the gene, you'll find that there's a thing that's coming from your mum and your dad. Yes, I'll get your brother.
I just wanted to say thank you for coming up to Humboldt County and giving us
It's good to be here. It's great playing at universities, and it's great. The people of various ages here, so the people are students and the people are not students, and that's great because my stuff seems to go through to people from all ages. And it's self-policing as well. Nazis tend not to come to my group, which is interesting. You're not Nazi. But yeah, I'll take 3 more questions, okay, and then I better go. So yeah.
In your past tours, you used to dress more flamboyantly or loud.
Well, I am transvestite, so more girly, yeah.
Or you don't as much anymore. Is that because of the politics?
No. I had to. This is how it went. So I came out when I was 23. At 29, I told my dad, and that 6-year gap was just for my dad, because everyone said, "Oh, don't tell your dad." I think Dad could deal with it. So I told Dad, and he went, "Yeah, I'm okay." And so I told him on Saturday at a football match, which was a bit crazy idea. And then on the Monday, I started talking about it, and I did my first jokes about it. And then I started doing stand-up about being transvestite. And the critics, because I was just cutting through at the time in London, critics said, "What is this? Why is he joking about this? This is odd." And so I said, "Okay, they don't believe me," so I thought I'll wear makeup and dresses. And they said, "Okay, no, I see he's a transvestite, but he looks a mess." And so when I came to America, I thought I'll do this all in one go. I won't do the "Hi, I'm a stand-up," and then come back a year later and say, "Hi, I'm actually a transvestite stand-up." And so I did it all in one go. And then people said, "Oh, it's all about the makeup, and that's what you do. You do." And I thought, no. And so then I've been taking that apart since then. And now I'm doing it sort of strategically. The fingernails, it's taken me 27 years to work out the fingernails, because this is quite a political statement to wear the European Union flag when the right and quite a lot of the centre people will just get really humpy about European Union. But if this European Union doesn't make it, if this doesn't work, then Britain won't work. None of them will go back to where we were. And that's what the right, I think, is kind of happy about. And we know what happens then. Then some bastard gets in, and then we go back to World War III. Or we go forward to World War III and go back and revisit World War II. So that's my political statement there, British European transvestite. And it, for some reason, it doesn't quite clash with the beard. I'm trying to get something that works, that fits in and doesn't look quite like that. But I'm going to jump backwards and forwards, and so I am a transvestite. I haven't, it's genetically in there. That when they find out where the transvestite gene is, I will have that gene. Anyone who's alternative sexuality here, I'm sure the vast majority of us, 95% of us, all say, "Yeah, it was in there since I was a kid." Some people say, "Oh, I was 30 and I became gay." I don't know where that comes from, but it's gay, lesbian, transgender. It's all built in. So it's there, and I'm just being tactical. And some people say, I'm not allowed to be tactical. Well, fuck off. Yes, what would you say?
Me?
Yeah.
I just wanted to know, out of all of your successes, what was your favorite thing to do?
Well, I think gigs in French and running 43 marathons in 31 days. Those two are the kind of ones that slightly blow my mind. The French, it was just 3 months. If you imagine to be in France in the springtime, having to do gigs in Paris and then go to Montmartre afterwards and have a meal. It was just insane. It's like I gave myself a Woody Allen film to live. Midnight in Paris had been filmed before that, and there's the bit, when he goes up at Midnight in Paris and he gets into the car, I lived up there. I lived at the top of Montmartre. So, and every day I was spending 3 hours doing French conversation with my 2 teachers and a restaurant by Notre Dame on the Seine, in a restaurant on a boat, and it was just insanely beautiful. And now I have to tour France. I know my show's going to go on in France, and I met these young kids who were coming up to me, and they knew my stuff because I've been putting French subtitles on my shows for years, and that is beautiful because it's not on the list. There's a list of things. If you're going to be a banker, then I suppose you you've got to, Pakistan's a great example at the moment, is it? Say if you're going to be an athlete, then you've got to get into the team, you've got to win races, you've got to get up into in the state areas if you're American, and then you've got to do nationals and then go to the Olympics and world champion, you know, these things. Footballers, if you're a politician, you've got to get through and be a congressman and then senator, whatever. But if you're stand-up, you know, there's things you've got to do, and maybe a sitcom, maybe touring, blah, blah, blah. But doing gigs in the second language, it's not on the list. There wasn't a list. And to have said, okay, we're going to go off the list is it's beautiful because it's part of my politics as well, which is the melting pot. The only way we're going to work is the melting pot, is more of us moving around the world, seeing other people from around the world to stop racism when people say these people are different. Say, no, we're all the bloody same. Because we've been all around the world. Oh, this guy's from around, and she's from around the world, and they've all come out. So we know that we are all, in the end, the same. So the melting pot is the only thing that's going to save the world, and I just want to get out there and do gigs in German, Spanish, Russian, and if not, I'll do them in English, but in these places, and come up into Northern California and do things like that. So, one last question. Well, actually, I have two. Yours and then yours, okay?
All right. Do you have any advice for any aspiring comedians/actors?
You're slashy. Well, for either one, for stand-up you have to do 100 gigs. If a friend wants to help you do 100 gigs, it's the easiest thing. There's no great... It's like teaching someone to drive a car without being in the car. You can't... When you're in the car, cars will come the other way, yeah? And so sometimes you have to look at the mirror because it could be a thing. And then don't look all the time in the mirror because you've got to get the gas. So it's a bit like that. Or talking to some kid who's 3 and say, this is how you're going to walk in the streets. Look out, there's people, sometimes there's dogs. Don't go on the road. Well, sometimes you go on the road because you're going to get the other side. But, you know, the only way to do it is actually to do it. So you have to do it if you want it more than blood. There's this weird saying that I have, but it's kind of like that. If you want it like this, then you'll get through. The beginning bit is hellish. And just do 100 gigs. Acting, yeah, again, it's the determination, that's the mark of everything. The things that get through. Some people get through and are lucky, but then if they don't have the determination, it all falls apart. So being determined and wanting it, that's the thing that's going to get through. And then study everything. You've got the internet now, you can look at things, take things apart, but don't do too much studying, because doing is more important in the end. You can do too much learning. You keep putting the act of doing off by just learning too much. So final question.
I think my favorite movie was Mystery Men, and I know you
Right.
did Tony P in that. I was just wondering what your favorite piece of acting was in Broadway.
You like my early work? I do like this film called Lost Christmas and Treasure Island, which I do like what I was doing in those. I like most of what I was doing in The Riches. Some scenes got away from me, but that always happens. There's 1 or 2 scenes where you go, what was I doing there? So I do like the later stuff. Velvet Goldman, I can't like what I was doing in that. Valkyrie, it tends to be more the later stuff. Tony P was fun in that, and there's certain things that I did right in Mystery Men that was because I just let go and just said, I am the god of hair care, which was I'm channeling the god of hair care. So I was doing things right in that, which I later forgot and got wrong and then got right later on. So being in the moment is the key thing. Being a stand-up or being an actor, being in the moment is the key. So if you're on stage, being right here, right now, talking to you and reacting, that's important. If I'm being a giraffe, I need to be that giraffe. If I'm playing someone Tony P, then I was the god of hair care.
Can we try a giraffe?
Sorry?
Just once. Just do the giraffe.
I don't do requests, I'm afraid. I think it's online somewhere. Anyway, thank you very much for being here.